Welcome back for Blacksburg Buzz number 36. It's been a great time, and we just passed a huge milestone. We're over 1,000 total listens on all of our podcast sites alone, and we're well over 2,000 on YouTube by itself. So, really exciting time, and not to mention, I'm graduating this week. Friday is the university commencement, and then Saturday night, I'll be finishing up my bachelor's degree. So, really exciting time here in Blacksburg. Can't wait to get started on the next one. Got 2 more years in communication for a master's, and it's been quite the ride so far. But Virginia Tech, they pulled in another great recruit on the men's basketball team. Ben Hammond, 5'11" point guard out of PVI in Northern Virginia, a school that I'm pretty familiar with since I went to Chantilly, not too far away. So Ben Hammond, he committed to Rhode Island originally back in June of 2023, signed a letter of intent in November of that year, and then just recently on April 16th, he went and he reopened his recruitment and decided that Rhode Island wasn't where he wanted to play. Now, PVI is a fantastic team, and I'm sure that their fourth straight championship at the state level was something that went into consideration here. I mean, winning four straight, I imagine he got a couple additional offers and some interest from people who weren't interested before. Hammond had offers from College of Charleston, Fairfield, Fordham, George Mason, Mount St. Mary's, Tennessee, Radford, just to name a few. There was a few more in there as well. He's got quite a few accolades through his high school career. In current rankings, he's about a 3-star recruit by most ranking websites. He's the 8th recruit overall in Virginia by On3. He's the 23rd overall point guard in the nation by the 24/7 Sports Composite. Made the All-State team for the VISAA in 2024 as a first-team member, and in 2023 he was on the second team. So you know that this guy is top-notch, and PVI is always playing top-notch opponents. Before we get more into Hammond, though, let's talk on today's video sponsor, Bet Online. Bet Online, it's your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, NBA, and the NHL playoff stats. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head over to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. So in addition to all those accolades, I mean, Hammond is playing for PVI. They're one of the best teams in the country and certainly in the DMV. 4 straight VISAA titles at the state level. I mean, this team's incredible. They turn out top-notch talent year after year. They're playing the best teams in high school basketball, and they're very successful at it as well. So I would say this is a very exciting addition for Virginia Tech. In terms of Hammond by himself, he's a really solid all-around player. He can shoot, he can pass, dribble, and drive. He's acrobatic in the lane. He's quick. You've kind of got everything you want there in a point guard, and he's really good at all of it. Now, despite the fact that he's a little bit undersized at 5'11", he's fared really well against this top talent that PVI is always facing in the WCAC conference. It's the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference. So he's holding his own against the top guys despite being undersized, and he's kind of got a little bit of everything and just solid all around. But his big selling point from some people that I've talked to involved with recruiting and the athletic staff is that he is an elite decision maker. He's a fantastic playmaker, and he knows where to get guys the ball. He knows when to get guys the ball. And he doesn't have to be that first scoring option, that go to guy who you need to take over a game all the time. He's able to do that, but where he really excels is making everyone around him better, just being that decision maker, being that floor general for a team and running the offense. That's what he excels at. And that's really exciting for this Hokies team. When you get a guy who can run the point and just make everyone else around him better, surrounded by some great shooters, some awesome athletes that we've brought in lately, I think it leads to a lot of excitement justifiably for this team. Uh, Hammond being a freshman, he'll have time to develop here as long as we can retain him throughout recruitment. And I think he could easily be a guy who's seeing some fairly significant minutes as a freshman player. Going up against such top tier talent, I really do have a lot of confidence that his game will transfer over well into the D1 level because let's face it, he's been playing guys who go D1 for his entire high school career, and he's been doing awesome at it. I mean, his senior year, you're talking first team all state. Like, he was kind of one of the guys on PVI going on their fourth straight state championship run. But even before that, he's been out there, he's been getting good minutes, and he's been winning games. He's the winningest player in PVI history, 101 games in his high school career, and 4 state titles, like I've said many times today. That's a really impressive resume coming out of high school basketball. You're playing top-notch talent, and you're winning, and he's performing really well. I mean, we're talking he had like 20 points, 13 assists in one of like the national games. PVI, they played, I believe it was like 8 to 10 games against top 25 ranked teams in high school by Max Preps, and they finished the season as the top rated high school program in the country by Max Preps because of winning so many games and beating such fantastic teams. I think they were 35-3 this year, and against top-notch talent, I mean, what more can you ask for? PVI has developed great players. I mean, they had 3 guys in the 2022 Final Four. You think about some big names like Jeremy Roach over at Duke. I mean, he came from PVI. Like, this is a team where you want to be pulling guys from, and we just grabbed their star point guard. I think this is a really big addition for Tech. He's another guy where you bring him in, you develop him a little bit, and if he's running the point well, dishing the ball out well, and then on top of that, he can score some and, do everything else, even though he's 5'11", I mean, you're looking at a really good foundational piece for a few years as long as Tech can keep him. Which, granted, in today's NIL world with the transfer portal and stuff, that's not a given, which is a little bit scary, but I don't think it's not something you can count on, but at the same time, you can't look at it and say, okay, he's not going to be here in a year or two. You've got to hope that he stays around for a little while, and the way I see it is you've just got to hope for that. So a really big, important addition for Tech here in Ben Hammond. I think he could pan out really well for the Hokies with the squad that they've built. They really have flipped over the entire roster. This team, it only has 4 players carrying over from last season. It's not the same at all. And in some ways, I think that's a good thing. It was time for Tech to get a refresh and just try and work something new. There was a lot of buzz about how certain players just didn't fit into Mike Young's system, and that was one of the reasons where things were struggling a little bit. But it seems like this team for the 24-25 season might fit that system a little bit better, and perhaps they can accomplish a little bit more. And then, continue to develop some of the younger guys, and, we'll just have to see what happens. Losing Jordan Ivy Curry certainly hurt. He was a guy that you looked at and you said, I think he's going to be really good with this team. He can be that ball dominant scorer that Virginia Tech might need next year. And, losing him was a big hit to the roster. But pulling in Ben Hammond, I think that fits a lot of the gaps. You're getting a guy who can obviously score and is a fantastic disher as well. That's really where he's excelled, is running his teams, running top teams. And hopefully he can run the Hokies team next year, or, if he hasn't developed quite enough as a freshman and gotten enough minutes, perhaps he does it as a sophomore. And you just have to look at it like this is a good piece for the future. Hopefully he sticks around and we can, do something awesome. So I think this is a really good ad for Tech. Definitely an exciting addition, whether you think it's good or not, because, Hammond really has everything you could ask for. He's a passer. He's a scorer. He can drive in the lane. He can finish through contact. He can shoot from the outside. And most importantly, he's simply a winner. He wins basketball games, and he wins a whole lot of them. So there's really not much more you can ask for, the way I see it, from a recruit coming into school next year. I just I don't really see it getting any better than this from a high school player coming up to the D1 level. This is one of the top guys in the country when it comes to recruits. So I think that's really, really exciting for Hokies basketball this next season. Now, I'm still working on that Sons of Saturday episode, but now that graduation is right here, it's going to be a little bit easier to get some things scheduled, and going to work on when baseball, obviously it's getting right into the postseason with baseball and softball. The Hokies third in the ACC for softball, and they just got the baseball team just got their first series win since Pitt all the way back at the end of March. So that's exciting. It wasn't an ACC opponent, which obviously you'd feel a little bit better about, getting an ACC series win at this point. But regardless, swept the series against Ohio. So feeling obviously happy about that. The first series win since late March, and here we are in early May. It's been a little while since they've won a weekend series, and just getting back on the right side it's going to be important down the stretch. It's going to help their seeding a little bit. Just, getting 3 more in the win column. That's a big deal. And the softball team, they're just incredible, obviously. Corey McMillan, 20 home runs this year. That is insane. And, you've got Michelle Chatfield as well. Emma Ritter is in, I think, the top 26 for, the Player of the Year award for softball. Emma Lemley, Addie Green. That team is stacked. So it's going to be a fun summer coming up ahead, where once they're all out of season, I'm sure they'll be a little bit more free to come on here and chat. But right now, with travel, playing 2, 3, 4 games a week, and postseason about to start up, a little bit busy when it comes to Diamond Sports, but we'll start getting into some of those. I'm looking forward to hopefully chatting with a few players coming up this summer, and getting ready for football season as well coming up in the fall. A lot of buzz around Hokies football. This is a big season for Virginia Tech. I mean, if they turn out really well, they win, 9, 10, maybe even 11 games. I mean, it's a fairly easy schedule, I would say. There's definitely a few tough opponents on there that I'm a bit worried about that I think could go either way, but generally speaking, returning 22 starters, the most in the country for any team. You see some of these guys take a big step up. Allie Jennings being healthy, who it was really exciting seeing his first few games and looking forward to what he could have done last season before he got injured, but having him back, having drones, another year of development. I mean, this could be a really exciting team this year and win quite a few games. Put Virginia Tech in a really good position if something bad does happen and the ACC kind of explodes a little bit. It'd be really nice for Tech to have a 9, 10, 11 win season on the record to, work off of and say, hey, the ACC isn't a thing anymore. If that does happen, it's kind of seemed like it's going towards that. Whether that is next year or 4 years or 10 years down the road, it seems like that's an outcome that might happen in the future, but obviously we don't know that for certain. But regardless, you win a lot of games and you put yourself in a good position for the future. So, it's exciting here around Blacksburg. If you're in town for graduation, awesome. If you are graduating, congratulations. It's a great time to be in Southwest Virginia, to be on Virginia Tech's campus. So, come hang out, take a look around because it's gorgeous outside. Mid 70s, nice and sunny. It's the best time to be in Blacksburg, some would say. So, definitely if you're out here, just come hang out, get outside a little bit, catch some of these baseball and softball games because, they're both really good. Baseball's had a little trouble recently, but perhaps they turn it around for the postseason. Until next time, just stay tuned in and catch the buzz.